Welcome to our Chant for Change series. Everything is inspired by the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder and chair of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Om Magana Timarandasya Garangana Sadakya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tajmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Karamayam Darati Swa Parantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Siyata Parakamanam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagadatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Stam Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishikhan Vitam Scha Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Pastaya Bhutare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Sarasati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesa Sanyuvari Praskatade Satari Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Our topic today is motivation for change. If we're going to rise higher in life, it's important that the light of your spirit dominate and banish the darkness of matter. Spirit is compared to light, this body to darkness. The spirit is fire, this body is ashes. As it said, dust to dust, ash to ashes. One devout fellow prayed, Lord, grant that the heat in my heart will melt the lead in my feet. That's a pretty good prayer. Would you agree with me? Now, don't we all want that kind of excitement, that kind of enthusiasm? It motivates us for change. Motivating people is a perennial problem. I was reading recently that each day across this country, 50,000 people quit their jobs. Some are moving to better jobs, many are not. And these statistics ignore people who have also quit their jobs but keep coming to work. In fact, in a survey of workers across the United States, nearly 85% said that they could work harder on the job. More than half claimed they could double their effectiveness if they wanted to. Our question tonight is, if we could do better, then why don't we? That's the question, isn't it? Everybody's asking how we motivate people. Teachers are asking how they motivate their students. Parents are asking how they motivate their children. Employers are asking how to motivate their employees. And most of us would be really, really happy if we could motivate just ourselves. Do you know some people that at one time were on fire with the Spirit, passionate to make a difference in their life, inspired to accomplish their dreams? And yet over time, their spiritual enthusiasm began to wane. They experienced disappointments, got worn down by the pressures of life. Now they're not excited anymore. They've lost touch with their inner spirit. Their fire has become subdued with the passage of time and the pressures of life. What were once roaring flames have now become passive embers. At one time, remember you got down on your knees and prayed for a child. Your first child was born. You praised God and shed tears of joy. Now that child is a teenager and you're asking, Lord, why me? Perhaps at one time you were so excited about that person to whom you were married. You were so in love, so passionate, but now the relationship seems to have gotten stale. Once your spouse put a sparkle in your eye and a spring in your step. Now you're starting to take him or her for granted and treating them with a polite formality. Maybe when you first joined the temple, you felt lifted up as on the wings of angels. You were so excited about the difference it was making in your life and the lives of your children and those close to you. Well, now you've been living those changes for a few years, and it's become routine. You see a new person dancing like crazy on Sunday night in the Kirtan, and you think, what's he so worked up about? Do you know that even the greatest things can become stagnant over time if we allow them to do so? You can have an exciting job, but it can start to get boring. You could be married to an incredible person, but if you don't nourish that relationship and put something into it over time, it's going to get stagnant. We have to work at things if we want them to stay fresh. It does not automatically happen. You may have gone from roaring flames, so to speak, to smoldering embers. But if you get your poker out and start stirring up those embers, the good news is you'll get the flames back. The flames didn't die out. They're still there. You just have to stir them up. Maybe you're about to give up on one of your dreams, or maybe you're not excited about that relationship anymore, but the fire is still there, and if you do your part to fan the flame, it can burst forward into fruitful passion once again. How do you do that? Stir up the flames. Well, you don't drag around finding every reason you can to be unhappy. How about changing the focus? Quit looking at what's wrong in your life and start being grateful for what's right in your life. Make a declaration with me today. I'm not going to live my life defeated and depressed. My dreams may not have come to pass yet. I may have some obstacles in my path, but I know Krishna's in control. I know he's got great things in store for me, so I'm going to get up each day excited about my life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tell yourself everything may not be perfect in my life, but if I don't learn to be happy where I am, I'll never get to where I want to be. I may not have the perfect job, but I'm thanking Krishna that at least I do have a job. Some people would love to have my job. I'm going to go find my flame and return to work with a new enthusiasm. What you don't want to do is drag yourself into the workplace with a sour, long face, barely on time, going through the motions, dragging along till quitting time. Instead, give your job 100%. Get there 15 minutes early and leave 15 minutes late. Make yourself indispensable to the boss, to the company. Do the work with all of your heart, to the best of your ability, not to the boss, not to the company, but to Krishna. That's what will keep you passionate about it. Everyone else may be slacking off. Everybody else may have a poor attitude, but you are not everybody else. You are a child of the Most High God. Now, don't be a part of the problem. Be a part of the solution. Enthusiasm is contagious. If you go into your workplace with a smile, full of life, full of joy, full of victory, before long, your good nature will rub off on others. The whole place will come to a higher level, and it'll all be thanks to you. I heard about a Mississippi country preacher who prayed before each sermon, "Oh Lord, give this thy servant this morning the eyes of an eagle and the wisdom of an owl. Illuminate my brow with the sun of heaven and possess my mind with the love of people. Turpentine my imagination, grease my lips, electrify my brain with the light of the word, and fill me plumb full of dynamite for thy glory." That translates to mean, be happy where you are. Have a spirit of excellence. Be happy with what you're doing right now. Krishna doesn't want us to go around complaining and thinking about everything that's wrong in our lives. Right now, you might be living in a tiny apartment instead of that dream house of yours. But you should thank God that you have a roof over your head. Thank Krishna you're not homeless, living out there in the elements. That man may not be a perfect husband, ladies, but you can still thank Krishna that at least you have somebody to love. How many people out there are lonely today? Believe it or not, some women out there will be glad to have your husband. Be grateful for that man. When you're about to complain because you have to work late next week, or you just found out you have to take care of the kids all day, remember something. You don't have to do anything. You get to do it. Krishna is the one who's giving you the break. You wouldn't be able to work late next week if Krishna hadn't opened up that door of opportunity in the first place. You need to change your perspective. Don't do things out of obligation or because you have to. Do them with an attitude of gratitude. I don't have to go to work today. I get to go to work. I don't have to take care of these children. They're a blessing. I get to take care of them. It's one thing to give because you have to. It's another thing to give because you want to. It's one thing to go to work in order to pick up a paycheck. It's another thing to go to work to be a blessing to your coworkers. It's one thing to stay married to that person because it's the right thing to do, because people will look down on you if you don't. But it's another thing to stay married to that person, treat him or her with respect and honor, help your partner reach a higher level. And when you do the right thing with the right motives, there's no limit to what Krishna will do in your life. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Would you agree with me that it's easy to get focused on what's wrong and take for granted what's right, what's going well? When you focus on the good, that's when you bolster your enthusiasm and passion. If you struggle with staying excited and passionate about your life, try making a list of all the things for which you can be grateful. Write down all the things that Krishna has blessed you with. If you have health, write it down. I'm healthy. If you can see, write it down. I can see. If you're good looking like me, write it down. I'm good looking. If you have a job, write it down. I have a job. I've got family. I have several close friends. I have great children. Make that list and read it every day, over and over, 2 or 3 times. It's important to get your mind going in the right direction because your life will follow your thoughts. A university professor was invited to speak at a military base recently. He was met at the airport by an unforgettable soldier named Ralph. This is what the professor said, quote, "After we introduced ourselves to each other, we headed towards the baggage claim area. But Ralph kept disappearing. Once he stopped to help an older woman with her baggage. Another time he stopped to lift 2 toddlers up to see Santa Claus. And then a third time he paused to give direction to someone who was lost. Finally, I said, 'Where did you learn to be this courteous and considerate, Ralph?' Ralph replied, 'During the war, I was in Vietnam. My job was to clear the mine fields. You never knew which step might be your last, so you learn to live between the steps. I guess I just got in that habit and keep living that way.'" Would you agree with me that we need to recognize that every day is a gift from God? What a shame to live any day in a negative and a defeated mindset. We all have obstacles on our path. We all have challenges to overcome, but our attitude should be, "Thank you, Krishna, I'm alive. I live in a great country. I have family. I have opportunity. So, Krishna, I'm going to make the most of this day and give it my best." Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At the first of the day, set your tone. Chant the holy names of the Lord. Do your japa. If you can get a nice morning foundation and go out to face the day with a grateful attitude and a positive frame of mind, thinking about how blessed you are and how good Krishna's been to you, then you're going to draw in the goodness of God. Put that list on your bathroom mirror, on your desk, or someplace where you can see it throughout the day. Read it over occasionally as you go through your normal routine, and it will help you stay excited about your life. When negative, discouraging thoughts knock at the door, you can just send them away, turn them around. Look over your list and read it over and over again. Remind yourself, I'm alive, I'm healthy, got a great spouse, got beautiful children, many, many, many good things Krishna has blessed me with. Another important key to relocating your passion is to keep fresh goals out in front of you. Some people have lost their passion for life because they're not pursuing anything anymore. Krishna created us to always be reaching for something beyond where we are at present. If you live with low motivation, few dreams, unrealistic goals, then it's inevitable you're going to get stagnant. On the other hand, if you continue to pursue new goals, it's going to keep you fresh and excited about your life. It may not be a lofty or grandiose goal. Maybe a goal to finish school, to learn some verses in a canto of the Bhagavatam, to be a better parent, to build and pay off a new temple, just so that you have something out there to stretch for, to strive for. Always be growing. Never allow yourself to become complacent. After you accomplish one goal, then immediately set another. Keep moving. Keep looking for newer and newer challenges. You say you're retired. You say you're just kicking back, taking it easy. No. Even though you're retired from your job, you never retire from a life of service to Krishna. He created you to, throughout your entire life, honor him and benefit your fellow living beings. It's even psychologically unhealthy to avoid those imperatives in your life. If your assignment right now in this season of your life is to raise your children, do it with passion, with enthusiasm. Maybe you have a dream to start a business, start a mission, to be a preacher. Keep something in front of you and keep pressing towards it. And we all have obstacles and challenges in our paths as well. That's fine, but don't cause them to give up on your dreams. Krishna always has something important for you out in front. If you make the mistake of dwelling on the wrong things, before long, you'll be planning your own funeral. No matter what the situation looks like in the natural, keep your dreams alive. Maybe you're struggling financially, but you have the dream of owning your own business. Keep that dream alive, even in the middle of a pandemic. Put up a picture of the business you'd like to have. Keep it in front of you. You need to always have something to be striving towards. Then work and save and make wise financial choices, and you'll be surprised how quickly your dream can become a reality. Sometimes we lose our enthusiasm because we let what once was a miracle become common to us. We get used to it, and it becomes routine. For instance, maybe at one time you were excited about your job. You know Krishna opened that door for you. He gave you that position, and you couldn't wait to get to work every morning. You got there, you gave 150%. Now, a few years later, the newness has worn off. It's become routine. You don't really enjoy going to work anymore. You become discouraged. Can I tell you what happened? You let the miracle become common. You need to go back. Recall how Krishna brought you to where you are. You need to fan your flames. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I heard a man who complained incessantly about his job. He said the company was not treating him right. He wasn't being paid enough money. He couldn't stand his boss. On and on and on it went. One day, the company, they announced they were going to lay off about half the employees, and it looked like to this person he was going to get fired. All of a sudden, guess what? He stopped complaining. He really started liking his job. The last minute, the company decided to keep him on, and you would have thought he just won the lottery. Interesting, isn't it, how things like that can change your perspective? You may be a lot more excited about your job if you realize that you may not always have it. Or maybe you would be more excited about your marriage partner if you thought you were about to lose that person. At one time, you were so pumped you couldn't keep your eyes off of him or her. But over the years, you've allowed yourself to grow stale, stagnant, and apart. You don't enjoy each other like you once did. You don't have time anymore for intimacy and compliments. You're too busy to talk at night. No. Can I tell you, don't take that other person for granted. Do whatever you have to do to get that spark back and rekindle that relationship that brought you together in the first place. Bring some freshness back into your marriage. Get out of your normal routine. Do something different. It may take a little creativity, but with effort, you can do something to bring freshness back to your relationship. Whatever you do, at all costs, don't lose enthusiasm for that other person. Don't let that miracle, that relationship with the person that Krishna brought into your life become so commonplace you take it for granted. Here's an example. When Fanny Brice, the renowned comedienne, was first offered a job from the much acclaimed Ferenc Ziegfeld, she accepted the job very quietly and ended the interview without much show of emotion. She thanked him and his secretary, took leave of them, greeted the doorman very politely. As soon as she was out of the building, however, she raced as fast as she could down to the theater where she'd be performing. All afternoon, she stood in front of the Broadway theater and grabbed people off the sidewalk to tell them that she would soon be working there with the Ziegfeld Follies. Wouldn't it be great to leave the temple this evening with that kind of excitement, that kind of enthusiasm, so that no matter how calm and sophisticated we looked while we were inside these walls, we couldn't wait to get outside to share Krishna consciousness with somebody else. We should never lose the amazement of what Krishna has done. Every time I drive by this Spanish Fork Temple, and I've done it thousands of times, I am amazed. And I've made up my mind that I'll always be amazed, even up to the day I die. Now we have another beautiful temple in Salt Lake City to keep us in the blessed state of amazement and wonderment about the goodness of God. If we were ever to start taking one of our magnificent Utah temples for granted, I think Krishna would be quite displeased with us. Not that we shouldn't be planning, striving for more, but we should always be grateful for where we are. Too often we let something that was great at one time become routine, and we stop appreciating it as we should. Maybe Krishna's done great things in your life as well, taken you further than you could dream, brought some great people across your path, opened up great doors. Now, don't get so accustomed to these things that they don't excite you anymore. Choose to remain passionate, living every day with enthusiasm. Sometimes we get in such a hurry that we miss the miracles all along the way. Can I encourage you? Take time for your children. Look into their eyes every day and tell them how much you love them, how proud you are of them. Think of the joy and the fulfillment they bring you. That alone should be enough to cause us to bounce up out of bed with enthusiasm every day. And when you're tired of cleaning up after them or tempted to have a bad attitude, learn to turn it around and say, Krishna, thank you for these children. Thank you for each of these gifts that you've given me. Miracles are all around us. The people in your life, the doors Krishna has opened, the things that have happened along the way are none of them by accident. It was Krishna's favor that caused you to be at the right place at the right time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You met someone and fell in love, or you qualified for that home, and you know that by all the usual means you would not have done so. or you got the promotion unexpectedly. A new temple opened in your city. None of these are coincidences. Krishna was directing your steps. Don't take it for granted. What are you focused on today? Are you becoming a better you? Is there a peace in your home and in your heart and your mind? Are you happy, at rest, enjoying life? We need to realize that this day is unique and irreplaceable. We need to make the most of it and live it like it could be our last. Finishing up here, I heard about an elderly couple who were always smiling and encouraging other people. Everyone loved them, especially the youngsters. After many decades of marriage, they still treated each other with honor and respect. In her mid-80s, the woman passed away. At the funeral, her husband told an interesting story. He said, "About 15 years ago, I had a heart attack. When my wife came to the hospital, she suggested that every night from then on, before we go to bed, that we affirm our love 3 times just to show how much we love each other, how much we're not taking each other for granted." And so for the last 15 or 20 years, we never went to sleep without affirming our love for each other each night 3 times. We'd say things like, "I enjoy your company. Your smile makes me happy. I'm so fortunate to have you as my wife or husband. With you, every day is special." Don't you love that? The woman lived every day like it could be her last. She went to be with the Lord on a Tuesday, but Monday night she had told her husband she loved him in 3 different ways. And when her life was over, can I tell you, she had no regrets. The last day of her life, she lived it loving, caring, at peace, enjoying every moment. Friends, this day is a gift, so make the most of it. Shake off anything that hints of self-pity or discouragement and find some reason to be grateful. Last story, I promise. I heard a story about 2 men. They were patients in the same hospital room. Every day, the man closest to the window shared with his friend what he saw outside, describing it in great detail, so his roommate could enjoy the view, even though he was confined to his bed in a distant part of the room. Today I see a beautiful sunrise. Kids are out there playing. Trees are blooming, on and on. Each day, the bedridden patient looked forward to hearing his roommate report on the outside of the world. It was the highlight of his day. One day, the patient next to the window became so excited. "You should see it. There's a parade coming by. There's a marching band. Kids and adults are celebrating something and having such a good time." After several weeks, the patient next to the window passed away. So his friend asked the nurse if he could have the bed by the window so he could see all the great scenes of activity outside. The nurse moved the patient to the bed next to the window, but when the man looked out the window, much to his surprise, all he saw was a thick brick wall. He called the nurse back in, said, "What's going on? My friend who passed away described all these beautiful scenes for several weeks. I can't see anything but a blank wall." The nurse smiled and said, "Sir, didn't you realize that your friend was blind? He chose to see a beautiful life from the inside out." No matter what twists and turns life takes, you can find the good if you look for it. If we have the right attitude, we can see the sun shining even when the day is cloudy. We can stay full of joy and keep getting better even when things don't go our way. The slide in front of you reads, "I opened 2 gifts this morning. They were my eyes." My prayer is that Krishna would give us a sense of gratitude, that we always focus on the good and never take life for granted. If you'll trust Krishna each day and live according to his plan for his life, you'll be happier, healthier, and you'll rise higher than you ever imagined possible. Make a decision that you're going to live each day with enthusiasm. Get up each morning and think about all the things for which you can be grateful. If you need to, make a list, keep in front of you, and go out each day to pursue your God-given dreams. Remember, you have seeds of greatness in you. You are not made to be stagnant. Rise out of complacency. Keep growing. Keep reaching for new heights. Your best days are still out in front of you. You have not seen, heard, or imagined the great things that Krishna has in store for you. As you keep stretching for the next level, improving your life, and reaching for your highest potential, you will not only become a better you than you ever dreamed possible, not only accomplish your dreams in this life, but also in the next life, you'll go back to home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Amy. Thanks for joining us, as well as all the others. We'll finish up here with a little bit of darshan. What you'll see as soon as I step aside are Shri Radha Shyama Sundar, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, and Shri Gaur Nitai here at the new Kusham Sarovar Temple in, of all places, Spanish Fork, Utah.